I was thinking today after lunch, we keep coming together, we keep sharing stories, we keep hearing about Krishna. But why do we keep doing it? What's the purpose behind it? And there's a beautiful verse in the Gita. Krishna says, Yarate moha kalilam buddhi vyati tarishyati tada gantasi nirvedyam shrutavyasya shrutasya cha. This verse just came to mind because I was thinking today, we come together and it's like we're bathing our consciousness with the thoughts of Krishna, the Supreme, or the Divine. But this verse is very interesting. It says that once you come to a certain level of spiritual life, you lose interest in topics that don't relate to your ultimate ishta, your ultimate aim. You become very focused. The verse specifically says, when your mind passes through the forest of illusion, then you become indifferent to all things that are heard or spoken of in the material world. There's an interesting follow-up verse, though. Atmaramascha muniyo nigranti, that even those who are at that enlightened stage, they relish hearing of the sweet pastimes of Krishna. Right? And there's another verse in the Gita. Na sato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate sata uvayor api dristo antas tvanayos tattvadarshibhi. That those who are learned can differentiate between what is ultimate reality and what is illusion, what is temporary. And so topics that are related to things which are temporary, which are not our eternal self, as we progress more and more, gradually we lose interest. But we don't give up something lesser without attraction to something higher. And I want to focus on that, about the idea between Ram and Krishna. It's a progression of attraction to God. Right? Our scriptures are the revelations of the hearts of the sages who have perceived that absolute truth, and they've left us a guide. So our understanding of even the incarnations of Krishna, it's a progression of attraction to God. And it is a bit subjective. We had a class yesterday about Hanuman. He didn't answer to the name Krishna. He was sitting in meditation, chanting Ram, Ram, and Krishna sent his messenger. He said, I need your help in the battle of Mahabharata. But when he heard Krishna is calling him, he didn't break his meditation. So Krishna said, tell him Ram is calling him. And when he heard the name, Ram is calling me, Ram, immediately he broke his meditation and he swiftly went to that place to serve his beloved. So the nature of the soul in relationship with God is there's subjectivity to it because it's a personal, individual path and each soul is unique. And so that's why I was saying before I asked the question that no answer is wrong. But it's also nice to see that we're of a similar mood here. And that's ultimately what creates a sweet atmosphere. And we spoke about that last night also. Those who neglect that energy of the Godhead, the feminine side, are incomplete in their understanding of. And that incompleteness also leads to so many problems in this world. When things are incomplete, you're searching for completion, but you're doing it through so many things that cause suffering. Right? If we only perceive God as the masculine without the feminine, then there's an incompleteness in the reality. Not the external reality. Our internal reality is incomplete. And so we'll try to fulfill that. And what did Ravan do? There's two sides of this. Those who just see God the masculine or those who just want to enjoy the feminine energy. Ravan, the great demon, only had Sita in his heart, no Ram. He wanted to possess, to enjoy, to control, to dominate Sita. That led to his own destruction and his whole dynasty. And there are those who only think of Ram, no Sita. This is also incomplete. It also leads to pathology. More subtle. It also leads to something. It's not complete understanding. Our Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada said that without understanding the Shakti side, only thinking Shaktiman, the masculine side of the divinity, it loses personhood. And that's why so many religions in the world do not accept the personhood of God. And there's another reason. They don't have faith in the reality of transcendent love. This is how it's described. Because if you accept God's personhood in a loving relationship, in a divine couple form, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada said, the supreme absolute truth is the divine couple. So when we asked, what does everyone think of when we say, what thought comes to mind when we say Ram? Immediately everyone said Sita. That shows you're very evolved spiritualists. And when we said, what do you think of when we say Krishna, Radha? Because that is the complete reality. And Radha is not the counterpart, she's the counter whole. Sita is not the counterpart, she is the counter whole. That's also described directly by Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. This is not sentimentalism, this is factualism. This is the actual philosophical understanding of the Bhakti Vedantas. So this is our premise here. So on one hand, Hanuman is a devotee of Ram, and their relationship is perfect. But for those who are looking for something more, then Ram will say, I am Krishna. Ram's incarnation has a certain function. Mangala brought sweets for everybody. Before you go home, you got to take sweets home. All right? So with Ram, we cannot dance in the Rasa Leela. This is one difference. Now, as we spoke yesterday, ultimately God is one. And for those who are seeking God as the impersonal absolute, that is also God. For those who are seeking God as the indwelling supersoul, that is also God. Ram is also that same Krishna. Narasimhadev is that same Krishna. For those who are looking for God to vanquish their enemies, or if they've been traumatized or terrorized, and they're a devotee of God, then he may appear like Narasimha. Everyone knows Narasimhadev? We have a friend who was very scared of Narasimhadev for a few years. But I helped her understand that he is protecting his devotee from his tyrannical father, demonic father. It's actually a manifestation of the protective mood of the Lord for his devotee. That Nrsimhadev is an incarnation of that divine parental love. Right? I think parents could understand how they could be a little bit of Nrsimhadev if push came to shove. Right? You could probably do it. You could do your impression, Rupamanjari, right? If there was a threat to your children, you can channel that prayer to Nrsimhadev energy. So all these incarnations of Krishna are incarnations of particular moods. As we progress in spiritual life, we understand how the soul has mood. And our aim in our spiritual path is also divine mood. We also mentioned this yesterday, that there's not just one melody we sing. There's so many melodies. Why? Because each melody has a mood. Each melody has a personality. In our Sanskrit tradition, each melody has a personality and a name. Rag. Each rag has their own personality. So, with Ram, the difference between Ram and Krishna, one of the particular differences is that Ram does not facilitate the Madhurya Rasa. Madhurya means specifically that mellow of romantic love for God. We see that in two examples in Ram's pastimes. One is Surpanaka. Have you heard of Surpanaka? Who answered yes? Varshana knows. See, I told you, the kids can come to the classes and they'll hear everything also. Okay. Who's Surpanaka, Varshana?
Sister of Ravana.
Correct, sister of Ravana. So when she approached Ram in the forest, she was attracted by his beauty. Very beautiful. The Lord is very beautiful. And she desired to be with him in that romantic exchange. He said, I am betrothed and loyal to my beloved Sita. I cannot reciprocate with you in that way. But she was obstinate, very stubborn. Ultimately, her wish was fulfilled with Krishna. She became Kubja, right? Have you heard of the name Kubja?
Yeah.
Okay, so she became Kubja. In Krishna's pastime, she was hunchback. And when Krishna left Vrindavan and came to Mathura, he gave her a very beautiful form, and he helped her, and he accepted her. Some people criticize Krishna for this. They think Krishna is accepting so many lovers. This is inappropriate. And in material consideration, yes. But Krishna accepts that criticism upon himself to satisfy the heart and soul of those who want to have that relationship with him. That's why our gurus would say that God is complete. Swami Prabhupada writes, he is so complete that he can even play the role of a rascal. A naughty, very naughty boy. People who don't have this broadness of conception think this Hinduism is completely like mad. Your God is stealing butter. Your God is stealing the clothes of young girls, 3, 4-year-olds, the riverbank. Have you heard the story, right? What is this? That's why you're supposed to study the proper Vedantic tradition and come to an understanding of the Tattva. If you dive directly into the Leela, it can bewilder you. There's a place in Vrindavan, if you've ever been or if you ever go, called Seva Kunj. If you stay there overnight, it's said every night Krishna performs his rasa dance there. If you're not qualified to see it, you go mad. Right? So Krishna, with Surpanaka, she wanted to be with Ram. But he said, in this pastime, I am not performing that role, that function. So you can come to me as Krishna. And our Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada said, Krishna is the most merciful because he accepts everyone, however you want to approach him. When Krishna entered the arena of Kamsa, people saw him in 12 different ways according to their mood. Right? The Vedanta says, Eko bahunam yo vidadati kamam. God is the original amongst all the eternal beings, which are his emanations, part and parcels. And he alone can satisfy all desires. And he makes a promise. Krishna promises in the Gita that I reciprocate according to your worship and your desire. People get confused. How is it possible that Krishna can accept Mother Yashoda? He can become a little infant child. Sometimes people say to Mother Yashoda and Nanda Baba that Krishna is God, and they laugh because they say, how is it possible? Because when there's a thunderstorm outside and there's lightning, he jumps in our bed and hugs us, and he shows that he's afraid. Because he's reciprocating with their mood, with their desire for that intimate form of love with Krishna, with God. We heard a story, we sang a song at lunchtime, that Ram's mother, Kaushalya, when she gave birth, she saw the Lord and she understood he is God. But she was singing to him. She said, it is astonishing that from every pore of your transcendental form as Mahavishnu, universes are emanating. This is the Vedantic understanding. That there's the causal form of the Lord, the causal form in the ocean of causation. And with his exhalation of his breath, unlimited universes are expanding. And during his cosmic breath, this whole play of Maya is going on, the cosmic dream. And with his inhalation, everything withdraws back into his form. And this is the cycle of creation, maintenance, and devastation within the syllable Om. Om is just the sound of the existence and the breath of God. That's the source of Om. So during that whole state, manifestation, devastation, so Ram's mother said, "Oh Ram, in that form as Mahavishnu, everything is emanating from you. How is it possible that you lived in my womb and took birth from my womb?" And the Lord smiled and said, "This is my mystic potency, because I want to exchange that mood of love with you as my mother, and I am your son." People think God just means, right? We have this idea in the Western culture, right? Men don't cry, right? Stoic. Lord Ram, as an adult, did he cry? Did Ram ever cry? She got some heads nodding. Rupa Manjari, when did Ram cry?
In separation from Sita Devi.
Okay, correct again. When Ram was in the forest, Sita was kidnapped by Ravan, and Ram was wandering through the forest calling out, "Ha Sita, alas, where's my Sita Devi? Where's my Sita Devi? Where's my Sita Devi?" People think, is this imitation? Is this a joke? How can God cry? People don't think God can have mood. But we have hearts, we have mood, and we are part and parcel of that. How can he not? How can she not? It said impersonalists don't believe in this personhood of God, but that is also his aspect. If you don't want it, you can say, okay, I just want to erase myself. No heart, no mood, no love, no devotion, just become a big zero. Those who really, really badly want that, they can also achieve the perfection of zeroness, right? Just to erase ourselves. But that is not the reality of Krishna. You know Lord Jagannath? Have you seen Jagannath? What is Jagannath's form? Prema Mai Kalevaram. That means his very form is divine love in separation. Pure mood. His mood is so deep that he melts in the ecstasy of his love. It's a form of ecstasy. He becomes stunned. It said that he does not want to blink. He wants to see Radharani when he comes back. The story of Jagannath's appearance. Have you heard how Jagannath appears?
Wasn't there a king that wanted to be?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect answer. There's 3 appearances.
Yeah.
The first appearance, so this is the later appearance in this world. The first time Jagannath appeared, actually there's like 4 or 5, but I'll mention an important one. Once was when he was thinking of Vrindavan from Mathura after he had left. And he received a letter from Radharani. And that was it. He became Jagannath. Standing on the rooftop, looking towards Vrindavan, 12 kilometers away, thinking, I want to go to Vrindavan. Thinking of Radharani in Vrindavan, Radharani was also, that's the nature of God's love. He's thinking of Radharani, she's thinking of him all night. She's in her flower kunj, and she was trying to send him a letter. All night she was writing a letter, thinking what to say, starting the letter and smearing the ink, starting over. She would use like a pigment, mineral, and she would start writing it, and then she would write it out, and then again, write it out. What am I going to say to Krishna? I cannot force him to come back. I cannot go there. All night long, she's writing a letter. In the morning, after 4 or 5 hours, she fell senseless in separation from him. In the morning, Lalita came, and she saw just the smudged ink. Like we have some kind of artwork nowadays, right? Radharani's painting. We have a whole school of art in this tradition. The material reflection of that, right? All night long, Radharani is starting just All that was on the letter was the beginning of the letter Kri. Right? If you write it in Sanskrit, it's one line, right? It's the first line. Gurudev would say, God is one, but it's like an infinite line. And if you look closely enough, there's many little dots. That means many individual souls within that complete oneness of God. One example Gurudev gives. So Krish, Ka, the line, and then you do a little circle and a little loop. It's like almost like an infinity symbol, but it doesn't complete it. And then the bottom, you do another look, Kri. So she wrote Kri. And then the rest of the thing was just different colors of ink smudged. So Lalita Devi took that letter, put it on an envelope, and gave it to a swan. And she said, carry this letter to Krishna in Mathura. All night long, Radharani was writing the letter, and all night long, Krishna was on his rooftop thinking of Radharani. This is the nature of God. It's mood. Think of all the incarnations as manifestations of different moods. In one of their aspects, Ram has his particular mood. What is the mood of Ram? Establish dharma. Always do what is right. That is the mood of Ram. Despite, and we should have a class about this, each of the characters of Ramayana, they live with so much dharma, great sacrifice, great hardship, but they always did what was righteous. That is Ram's mood. I will establish righteousness. I will live by a very strong moral code. Raghukule rit sada chalayai pranjai vada vachana nachai. This is Ram. Ram's mood is, in my dynasty, it's the solar dynasty. In my dynasty, I'll give up my life before I give up my word of honor. That's why he went to the forest. His father had pledged the kingdom to the son of his wife Kaikeyi when he didn't have any children. But he forgot that promise because he was very attached to Ram and he wanted Ram to be king. But Ram said, if my father goes against his pledge to make Bharat king, I will give up my life because we cannot break our honor. And those who are attached to that conception as the highest thing remain in that line. And for them, it is the highest. Dharma, Maryada. But Krishna is very different mood. Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityaja. It's a very famous verse in the Gita. Ultimately, you have to give up everything, even dharma. Mamekam sharanang braja. There's a transcendent dharma even beyond that material morality, and that is divine love, prem. And therefore, the gopis are considered the highest devotees because they gave up all worldly dharma and they surrendered to the dharma of divine love, prem. They followed their heart, went to Krishna. So, Radharani's letter. Krishna's up all night on the rooftop. Radharani's up all night trying to write the letter. They haven't exchanged any words since, now it must have been weeks since Krishna left. Krishna went and killed Kamsa. Radharani is thinking, Krishna, you didn't come just to kill demons. So many incarnations come and they kill demons, establish righteousness. You did that as Ram. No matter how many times you do it, you're going to have to do it again. It's the reality of this material world. No matter how many times you reestablish righteousness, the moment you do it, it's under attack. While you're establishing it, it's under attack. And so that is a function of God, and it's a function of the devotees, it's a function of the great sages. And there are those who want to eternally be in that battle of good versus evil. They experience a rasa or a mood in it. It's a mood. Right? There's people, I know, they're so absorbed in it, whatever form of politics it may be, whatever side is right or wrong, their whole consciousness is absorbed in that battle of good versus evil. And who knows, really, ultimately, right? This side is good, this side is good. Their whole consciousness is absorbed in it. In their next life, they'll be born with a battle sword, so they get to play out their fantasy of victory over darkness. And you can be absorbed in that reality for eons, for ages. There's a great king He was such a great warrior that the demigods gave him a boon to live practically forever. He was such a great warrior, and anywhere there was a great battle, they would call him there. He was like the MVP of every battle. He was such a great warrior. Finally, after many, many ages of battles fighting the demons, the demigods were finally satisfied, and they said, "You've helped us win all our battles. We want to grant you a boon." And he said, "Let me take rest." That was his prayer. He said, "I want to have such a peaceful, deep sleep, and may no one disturb me, and may it be known that whoever wakes me from my sleep, I will have a third eye open that will burn them to ash." He said, "I give up. I've fought too many battles. I'm done." You know, like a war veteran who's got thousands of scars. Imagine how many battles he'd fought. So if you want that reality, we can participate in that reality. Radharani's thinking, "Krishna, yes, I know you say dharma sangstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge," but that's in chapter 4. Chapter 18 is sarva dharman prityaja mamekam sharanam braja. It's necessary, it's all important. But our acharyas say that is a different Krishna because it's a different mood. There's two Krishnas. There's the Krishna always in Vrindavan, in one manifestation of one dimension. He never leaves Radharani. He's called Nanda Nandana, Jashoda Nandana, Radha Raman, Radha Kanta, the beloved of Radharani. He never leaves her side. That aspect of reality is eternal. It's called Nitya Satya Vartman, eternal present in the spiritual world. It's eternally present there, and Radharani is eternally with him. So Radharani, she's writing the letter, you know. I'm not claiming to know her moods, right? But this is some of the teachings of our gurus that we hear from many different pastimes. Before they appeared on earth, she didn't want to come. Said, "Look what happened last time. I was Sita." Those who study the life of Sita, I don't have to say much more. Right? We've done classes before, we'll do classes again. You know, the life of, you know, who'd established Dharma better, Sita or Ram? I would argue that Sita's life of Dharma was her self-sacrifice, her loyalty to Ram despite everything is a paragon of virtue for us to. But Radharani said, "Oh, I don't want to go." It's like Krishna wanted to go to this world again, like he's going on his vacation, work vacation. Workcation, is that what you call it? I don't know. Workcation. So Krishna had to go. He said, "I have to go again, but please come again." She said, "Last time as Sita, it didn't go well. It went sideways real quick. We got married. It was all sweet and nice." There's a song Radharani sings, "Sukera lagiya egara bhadinu aguna pudina jelo," that I thought we would be happy, like we were a couple, we built a beautiful house, and that same night it burnt down. There's a whole song based on this mood. It's a very painful song, right? Sukera lagiya means out of desire for happiness in our loving relationship, we built a beautiful house. That same night it burned to ash. Material life, right? Radharani says, "I don't want to go back to that. I'm happy in our spiritual world." As soon as you go to the material world, it's the world of death, world of suffering, world of pain, inevitable problems. "I don't want to go." Krishna said, "Please come." She said, "I'll only go if my Jamuna goes, my holy river, if my Govardhan goes, my heart." Govardhan represents her heart. Jamuna represents, right? You have the heart, and then you have the what is pumped through the heart, right? Your life force, the Jamuna River. It's the life force of the heart of Radharani. And she said, "I will not go if my Tulsi Vrinda doesn't go." So Vrindavan is one forest of Vrinda, and then there's 12 forests: Kamyavan, Madhuvan, Talavan, Kumudavan, Bahulavan, Matvan, and so forth. "Then I will go, and I will not leave Vrindavan. I want to have my perfect spiritual community manifest in this world, then I'll go. But I won't leave." Why did she, "I won't leave"? Because she knows Krishna. Krishna is very restless. It's not just vacation, it's workcation. When Krishna came, he was playing with everyone for 9 years, 9.5 years. Then one day, Narad Muni came to Vrindavan. Have you heard of Narad Muni? The great sage, travels the universe. And he came and said, I want to have a meeting with Krishna. Right? He said, great sage, why do you want to have a meeting with Krishna? Have a meeting with Nanda Baba, have a meeting with, Vrishabhanu Maharaj, Radharani's father. No, I need a meeting with Krishna, just Krishna and Balaram. And, Mother Yashoda's right eyelid began to twitch. Inauspicious sign. Right? Left thigh began to twitch. Should I allow the meeting or not? How can I not allow it? So she allowed, and Narad Muni sat in the room with Krishna and with Balaram, and Narad Muni said, how long are you going to play with your friends in Vrindavan? You appeared in this incarnation. You made a promise to Mother Earth to defeat the demons, to kill the demons. It's a great mystery. Send another incarnation. Send Nrsingadev, send Parshuram. So many incarnations can go and kill the demons. Or you can empower any devotees. You empower the Pandavas, empower everyone. Go kill everybody if you need to. Right? But why do you have to leave Vrindavan? Radharani knew. Right? When Ram came, she married Ram, and immediately they were exiled to the forest. Sita Devi's feet are so soft, and yet she walked barefoot in the forest over so many thorns and sharp stones. Right? Soft like butter. Said when Sita was married to Ram, they knew how soft her feet were, so they brought a very special carpet, like you imagine, the most soft carpet possible. And on top of that carpet, they prepared flower pollen and very soft petals of flowers. And as she was walking, first to enter the palace with Ram, she was wincing. Right? Because her feet were so soft, they didn't understand properly like her home. That's how soft her feet are. And yet, she went in the forest for 14 years. So Sita Devi said, I will not go. Radharani said, I will not go. Krishna begged her again and again. Finally, she came. And then what happened? Only 9.5 years. And of that 9.5 years, how much could they be together? They were not together when Krishna was a little boy. They danced some nights. Right? There's a few, we're not going to get into the details of these pastimes. But Radharani was thinking, oh, we'll have a nice life. No. Narad Muni said, Krishna, you made a promise to Mother Earth. Those who know the story, she was suffering from the tyrannical rule of so many kings, so Krishna had to leave. Narad Muni said, Krishna, you promised, you have to go. A few days later, Krishna left Vrindavan. Radharani, she did not leave that place. It's called Udavikeri. She was lying there in separation. And finally, after many weeks, Krishna said, I'll come home in 2 days. There's a Sanskrit verse. Like we say, oh, I'll come back in a few days. So in Sanskrit, you say 2 or 4 days. You give yourself a little leeway. All right? Makes sense, right? Krishna said, Din Dvichari. In 2 or 4 days, I'll return. And so for 2 days, they waited. For 4 days, they waited. And their mood is that one moment seems like an age in their separation because of their love, because the intensity of their mood of love. Mahaprabhu has this verse. Have you heard the verse? He says, Yugayitam nimeshena chakshusha pravishayitam shunyayitam jagat sarvam govinda virahename. In the mood of Radharani, says, a moment in your absence is like an age, like years. And she was waiting and waiting. Finally, after many weeks, she said, I'm going to write a letter. Right? You forced me to come. You promised it would be okay. And now again, it's all starting over, that same pastime. But in the morning, she just sent this note. Beginning of the letter Kri, you write K, Ka, and then you add that little loop on the bottom. She couldn't get past that loop. She couldn't get from Krish to Shna. And Lalita sent her note, and that swan carried it to Mathura. And Lalita Devi told the swan, be careful of Mathura. There's a different mood there. We've been talking the last few weeks about culture, right? The importance of culture in an ashram, in a temple. having the right mood and establishing that mood and protecting that mood. Mood goes off, right? The whole thing goes sideways. That's the truth. So Lalita told the swan, be careful. Krishna is very, wily in his ways. It's very tricky. He'll say, oh, stay with me a while. You've come from Radharani. Stay with me. He said, don't speak with him. Don't touch down. You should be a loyal messenger. Anyone gives a package. It's like, come live with us for a while. No, give the package, return. So the swan came and Krishna was on the roof. Now it's morning time. All night Krishna's on the roof crying and Radharani's in the flower grove writing her letter. And the morning time, the sun has risen. The swan is flying. You can imagine the golden rays of the sun. The swan's flying to Mathura and he says, how will I find Krishna? Lalita Devi said he'll be standing on top of the roof crying. We know, right? Radharani has a jewel and it reflects Krishna. And Krishna has a jewel and it reflects Radharani, right? Oh, he's there. And Krishna, Uddhava, Krishna's friend, he was in a lower floor in his room. And he was watching that coming down his window, it looked like rain. He opened the window and he looked out, it was just right there. Right past, sunny sky, no rain. He said, where's this water coming from? So he went up to the roof and he saw his friend Krishna weeping. And in the meantime, the swan is flying towards Krishna. And the swan, beautiful golden, fulgent swan, in the golden rays of the sun, the swan is coming, comes over Krishna. Krishna sees the swan coming and he invites the swan, he beckons the swan, and the swan drops the letter. Krishna's beckoning the swan, letter falls in his hand, the swan turns around and leaves. Why? There's many tangents. There's a story of Sukadeva Goswami, the parrot. And one time he went to Krishna and Krishna is so beautiful, he became attracted to Krishna, he stayed with Krishna. Radharani Lalita Vishaka had to come and bring him home. So they said, don't stay with Krishna, you be in our party. Krishna's left us, we love him, but yet, come back. So the swan immediately turned and left. Krishna's holding the letter. With trembling hand, he opens the letter, pulls out the painting of Radharani's heart, right? And Krishna becomes Jagannath. It's one appearance of Jagannath, right? Divine mood, prema mai kalevaram. That divine ecstasy, we're limited, we have material forms. God does not have these limitations. In the ecstasy of his divine mood, right, becomes Jagannath. And Uddhava is sitting there astonished. What is the glory of their love? That just getting this letter, when Rukmini sent a letter to Krishna, he did not become Jagannath. He went and saved her, he accepted her. But when Radharani sent this letter, Jagannath appeared. And people think, oh, Jagannath, according to some people's mood, they think, oh, Jagannath is just Dwarkadish Krishna, he is Vishnu, and they want to give him gold and weapons, and he's just trying to give them away. People dress Jagannath with weapons, and he's like, no. We lived in Puri many months, over many years. And one of our Prabhuji, every evening he would go and get the chance to massage Jagannath, because he had very close friendships with the priests. And so we had a temple nearby, and every evening he would say, I have to go. Where are you going? Jagannath's last arti, bedtime arti. They feed him coconut water. They give him many coconuts to cool his mood of separation. And then devotees will massage him, massage his feet, right? One time we got to go and do that a few times on Rath Yatra in Puri. There's like millions of people go to Rath Yatra. We got to go and massage Jagannath on his chariot, only for a few seconds, and then the priest sent us off. Prabhuji arranged the darshan. We had like 30, 40 Westerners. It's very hard to get to see Jagannath as Westerners, right? But we got to go in the cart and embrace Jagannath. And then when you see, if you've been to Rath Yatra, in New York, it's pretty cool. New York is pretty cool. India blows your mind, right? The whole street is like a river of people. It said 10 million people come together for that festival from all over India and from all over the world. So this Jagannath form is what? Is that form experiencing Srimati Radhika's love. That is one aspect of the Godhead. Many people think, oh, that's too sentimental, too this, too that. But that is one of his aspects. And those who want to be in that relationship of divine love approach Krishna and he fulfills their desires. Those who want separation is not the primary pastime, don't worry. The separation pastime is to emphasize the power and the depth of their love. It's not an eternal reality. When they appear in this world, they show this mood of separation to show the power and the intensity of their love. So Krishna becomes Jagannath. That's one of the stories. After some time, he again became Krishna. Why Uddhava was saying, okay, Krishna, it's 10 o'clock, we have a meeting. We have to meet and talk about, okay, we just killed Kamsa a week ago, and we have to figure out how to organize and manage the kingdom, right? Everyone wants to bring Krishna back into this role, king and emperor, ruler, killer of the demons. And that is what is God. If you read the Old Testament and the prayers, the Psalms, everyone's not praying to God for his pure love. They're praying, kill my enemies, establish this, establish that, especially kill my enemies. It's one of our main prayers to God. Please, God, kill my enemies. So we're not going to get into that topic, but who is good, who is bad? Every soul is good. And there are demons that also need to be liberated. So Radharani was thinking, Krishna, you said you'd come back, but yet you are not. Krishna had his duties to perform. There's another time he became Jagannath, next time. Many, many years later, Radharani had almost lost hope that he would return. But she was holding on to her life because Krishna had promised, and primarily, she thought, if I give up my life, Krishna will hear the news and be very sad. Krishna sent Uddhava, his friend who saw him become Jagannath. He said, you should go to Vrindavan and console my beloveds. Tell them everything will be okay. Tell them I am God, I'm everywhere. He went and he said, oh, he's God, he's everywhere. They said, this is like kindergarten level spirituality. God is everywhere. Okay, great. I don't care about everywhere. I care about here, right? First level, no, it's very high level spirituality, but Uddhava is the disciple of the guru of the demigods named Brihaspati. And he went to Vrindavan and he spoke with Krishna's father Nanda and he had a whole long conversation with him. And there's a whole long conversation, we don't have so much time. Nanda, Krishna's father, said, I heard you are very wise, disciple of the guru of the demigods, but I see you don't have your baby teeth yet. Vedanta, you're not a Vedanti. Vedanta means very strong teeth, able to chew the difficult philosophy of Vedanta. Vedanta, one meaning means the end of all knowledge. The other meaning means no teeth. This is actually, if you break up the Sanskrit word, you can break up Sanskrit words in parts. So Vedanta means no teeth. You're trying to chew on the philosophy and it breaks your teeth. And the other meaning, the proper meaning is Vedanta, the end of all knowledge. Veda, knowledge, anta, the final conclusion of all knowledge. So Nanda Baba said, you don't even have your baby teeth to start chewing the philosophy. Right? You need teeth even to try to understand Vedanta. But he was trying to explain, oh, Krishna this, and he is God, and it's okay, it's good, he's here with you. He said, it's even worse. If he is actually God, then I lost him. It's like having a priceless jewel, and then someone else has it, you lose it. So he met with each of the associates. When he met with the gopis, they said, Uddhamonna dhasabis. I don't have so many minds and so much intelligence to consider all your theories. Oh, God is everywhere. I don't care about that energy of God that is everywhere. That's impersonal. Jagannath Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatume. Oh Lord of my heart, I want you to be present before me in the path of my eyes. It's that development of mood. It's a very high stage to see God everywhere because you can feel that. in life. When you come to a very deep state of spirituality, you're in almost a sense of peace and love with existence because you feel the presence of this great spirit in it. And that's a very high platform. And what happens, you get to that platform, and if you keep progressing, you chant our mantra, what happens is that the desire begins to increase. I want your presence in my life. I want to go from everywhere to here. Nayana patagami bhavatu me. O Lord of the universe, Jagannath. O Lord of the universe, please be present in front of my vision. So the gopis said, we don't have time for your theories. Krishna sent Uddhava to learn from the gopis, not to teach them. So he learned and he went back. So there's another time he became Jagannath many, many years later. It's described in some histories. Our Gaur Govinda Maharaj, Srila Gurudev would describe this pastime. After all the battles were won, finally Krishna thought I could go home. We don't have so much time for the whole story, but this is how classes go, right? Once we get into it, time's finished. After the Mahabharata wars finished, there's a time called Kurukshetra, a solar eclipse like we had recently. And Krishna met with the Brajabasis in that area where he spoke the Bhagavad Gita, the same area where he spoke the Gita. So anyhow, Krishna promised, I will come back to Vrindavan. Again, he reaffirmed his promise. He said, I have just a few more things to do. And they were thinking, the gopis thought, anyhow, we're taking you into our heart, and in the chariot of our heart, we are taking you back to Vrindavan. Right? This is what they said. In the chariot of our hearts, we will take you back to Vrindavan. And they went home. Because they said, we cannot control you. Oh Lord, you are Swatantra. The Lord is independent. We are not trying to force him to do anything he does not want to do. But he said, I promise I will go home soon. And he killed 1-2 more demons. That's how it's described in the book. He had 1-2 more demons to kill. And after that, he thought it had been 100 years. The first time he became Jagannath, right? We don't have time for all the histories. But this one is very sweet. And it had been 100 years since that other time when he assumed that form of that molten love in separation from Radharani. So he said, I will go back to Vrindavan. And they made a chariot. And he sat in one chariot, and his brother Balaram sat in another chariot. His sister Subhadra sat in another chariot. And they all began to go towards Vrindavan. What to do? We don't have time. Right? But as Krishna approached Vrindavan in the evening time, Radharani was in her kunj. And first Krishna met with everyone. If you see how the Jagannath Rath Yatra goes, the carts arrive one by one, and Krishna meets with all the different devotees, his parents, with everybody. But he's waiting, he's thinking, I want to go meet with Radharani. When he first arrived in Vrindavan, imagine hundreds and thousands of people are all surrounding him. Like you see the Rath cart. When it arrives, in Puri, when it arrives, everyone surrounds Jagannath. And he stays there for some time, but then, after some time, he's carried into his own inner sanctum so that he can perform that lila of meeting with Radharani. So then it said Balaram and Subhadra began to speak with Krishna's parents, and then they indicate, let Krishna have some time alone. And Krishna goes off alone, and he enters that place where Radharani is laying on the bed of flowers. And she is senseless, holding on to her life, only thinking that if I give up my life, Krishna will hear and be sad. And she's breathing. It said it would take 3-4 minutes for one breath to come out. And they would sometimes hold a cotton under her nose, and with her exhalation, the fire of her separation would burn it to ash. So Radharani is laying there, and Lalita Devi whispers in her ear, Krishna came to the entrance of the kunj. Many times when they were young, Krishna would try to enter the kunj. Radharani would send him away. When she would, in her man mood, she would say, no, don't come now. Now she's remembering all those times, oh, I sent him away. Why did I send him away? There's many stories about this. Radharani was angry at Krishna or something in their sweet pastimes. Now she's laying there thinking, oh, alas, if I could only see Krishna one more time. So Krishna waited at the edge, at the entrance, for permission. And he's standing there, and he's seeing Srimati Radhika, and Lalita Devi whispers in her ear, oh, Krishna has returned. Krishna has returned. Krishna has returned. Again, she says it. Krishna has returned. And gradually, Radharani comes from that deep, right, divine consciousness of that yoga nidra. She's in her samadhi, internal absorption in Krishna, meeting Krishna, and gradually arise from that. Not all of a sudden. She opens her eyes. When Radharani was a baby, she didn't open her eyes. It's actually a famous part of Radharani's pastime. She wouldn't open her eyes. They had to consult the sages, Narad Muni actually. They consulted him. What can we do so that Radharani will open her eyes? A few weeks had passed. They said, oh, you should bring Krishna. Krishna has special blessings. They didn't reveal their love. He said he has some special power, some special medicinal power. Anyone who's in his presence will be healed, will be healthy. So they brought Krishna and put him in the crib with Radharani. She opened her eyes, right? So now she's in the Kunj. She doesn't want to open her eyes and see this material world, external world. She thought, I only see Krishna. So she opened her eyes, and that sidelong glance, right? She's laying on the bed. The sidelong glance of Radharani pierces the heart of Krishna. Their eyes meet. And Krishna becomes Jagannath again. Jai Jagannath. Right? Narad Muni prayed, oh, may this form always be present, because this form is the most merciful to this world. That's Jagannath. What we call the Lord of the universe is that form of Krishna's highest pinnacle of divine love. And that love, he radiates all throughout all of Vrindavan. Everyone is able to reciprocate with him in that divine love, according to their mood, as the cowherd boys in the mood of fraternal love, as his parents in the mood of paternal love, with all the different devotees. But it's especially that special magnanimity of Krishna when he's in that experience of the highest love with Srimati Radhika. So this Krishna is also Ram. This Krishna is also Lord Chaitanya. This Krishna is also Nrsimha. This Krishna is also Brahman. This Krishna is also Paramatma. It's not limited. But for those who are eager to enter that reality of divine love, who pray for that experience of divine love, we focus on that path. That is our Thakurji, that is our Didis, that is our Gurudev's mood. And there's so many things to discuss about it. This is what we discuss about. We try to find an aim in life, and we discuss how to progress. And then one of the main ways we progress is by our songs of devotion. One of the main ways we progress is by the offering of our love in the form of arati, the incense, the ghee lamp, the flowers, representing our moods, our hearts, representing the sense of smell, sight, hearing, right? We offer all our senses. So that's what we do in our life. We find an aim, and we try to do things that facilitate our approach towards that ultimate destination. So in our line, we focus on that beautiful realm of Vrindavan, where Radha and Krishna are eternally meeting, no separation. No separation. Yugala milan sukadakaran jivana chadite pari. And actually, in our specific mood of our gurus, we pray that may we always facilitate their meeting. What is the higher service, right? Facilitating the meeting of the beloved, the divine couple, so that they don't have to experience that separation. So that is there in our conception. But we hear Harikatha to help us absorb in that path and move forward step by step. And also, we come together with people who are like-minded. It helps us, right? Like-minded association as a support system. That's called sadhu sangha. So in this way, we progress towards that land of Vrindavan. That land of Vrindavan manifests in the hearts of the devotees who are completely absorbed in it and who are praying for it to manifest in our life. God is very merciful. If you want to kill the demons, He will give you a form suited to do that. And you can be like that great warrior. He probably prayed for it in one life. One life he probably prayed, let me be the greatest warrior and let me help the demigods and kill all the demons again and again and again. And he did it for ages and ages. Finally, he asked for sleep. When they gave him the next boon, he no longer asked to kill demons. He said, let me take deep sleep. And whoever wakes me up, I'll burn that person to ash. So we can experience all these different leelas, all these pastimes. But here we focus on not just the regulative practice, which is very important, but the practice or the sadhana, the regulation with the mood that will bring us to that realm. This is the differentiation. There's many people they'll do kirtan, they'll do arti, they'll hear about Krishna, but we do it in such a way that our heart becomes attracted to that and we absorb ourselves in that so that we can actually enter that. Because without the right mood, right? Little bit this way, a little bit that way, you end up in a whole different reality. Right? It's the power of consciousness. Right? The power of desire and mood. Takes you this way, takes you that way. So we try to align our mood. If we desire that, we align our mood with the moods of our gurus who have that mood that we aspire for. That's our tradition. Gradually, we align our moods with those. It's like a guide map. They have left us prayers, they have left us teachings, they have left us stories, and they have realized that state of grace in their own lives. And they have perceived that reality and entered that and realized it in their heart, and they are present there. And so they say, oh, for those who aspire for that, follow this course. Follow our footsteps. Tadanuragi, jananugami. Follow our footsteps, they will take you there. Follow that path, it will take you there. So, Krishna is Ram, performing his sweet pastimes. But for those who are praying for that state of divine love in Vrindavan, then Ram says, oh, you will be born in Vrindavan and I will accept you as Krishna. There's another pastime like that with the sages of the forest who were praying. They saw Ram, you're very beautiful, but they were chanting Krishna's mantra. He said, I will accept you as Krishna. Come to Vrindavan. Vrindavan is the realm beyond the drama of the battle of material existence, which is Ram Lila, establishing righteousness, protecting it, which is our duty, right? As householders, as renunciants, our duty is to uphold Dharma and to live by Dharma for the benefit of the society, for the benefit of the children, for the benefit of the community. That's the Dharma we have to perform as a duty to God and each other. But ultimately, at the end of our journey, we can even transcend that. And we can go to that land beyond material Dharma. That is the land of Prem. In that land, the Dharma is pure love. That's why Nanda Baba said, you don't even have your first 2 front teeth. Because in Vrindavan, it's not Dharma of this world, it's Dharma of the transcendental world. The Dharma of the transcendental world is just Prem, pure love. Vanchakalpa turubhischa kripa sindhuvevacha patitanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah Hare Krishna.